having a total or a complete view. It is embodying the Japanese concept or the Japanese word called jijimoge, which means that that all things are interconnected. One thing implies all others and vice versa. That we all have this interconnection. And having that complete view is realizing the causality, the cause and effect of our actions, our words, and what we experience in our reality. And it's the understanding of karma and the causality, and that karma is our own doing. And it's the thing that we bring to each day, to each moment, with the things that we say, the things that we do, and the things that we think. Now, what we say and do is going to be predicated on what we're intending and why we're doing the thing in the first place. And what we experience as karma, like the bad luck or the good luck that we have, typically is coming from whether or not we're fully accepting ourselves wholeheartedly. And to live as the warrior of the garden takes a practice of self-reflection and character examination. And the reality is, when we talk about intentionality and the results of our karma, what we're talking about is, first and foremost, do you fully accept yourself? Do you accept all of yourself? Because the reason why we start looking at intentionality when it comes to Zen Stoic is because intentionality and what your intentions are the one thing that you can't hide from yourself. So before getting into integral intention, we'll give a quick background on how this came to be. Because in Zen Stoic philosophy, we talk about this idea of the 4 intentions and 4 delusions. And the way that this came together because one day I was asking myself, what is unique about Zen Stoic philosophy? What makes it its own? Where does it stop being a little bit of Zen and a little bit of Stoicism, and where does it actually become its own school of thought, its own philosophy? And it comes with exactly this, which combines the virtues and the essence of both Zen and Stoicism. So Stoicism has 4 main virtues, and Stoicism, to put it into a summarized version, it would be the realization that we can't control what happens, but we can control how we respond. And we can always choose to respond with one or more of the 4 virtues of Stoicism, which are wisdom, temperance, justice, and courage. Now, the virtues that we respond with, virtue, when Stoicism was created, had a different meaning than it does today. Today, you can say and do the right things. You can be virtuous, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to experience inner peace. And Zen Stoicism is the philosophy that points one who practices it to unshakable inner peace. And the Zen idea of this is that when you engage in Zen, when you engage in that state, that moment, that experience of Zen, you are being perfectly and simply human, wholeheartedly, sincerely, without having to keep an eye on yourself. So when I thought to myself, I'm like, okay, well, you can do and say the right things, but you can still be without inner peace. I asked myself, well, what's the one thing that you can't hide from yourself? That even if you lie to the world, you'll always know. And that thing is your intentions. You cannot hide your own intentions from yourself. Some people would argue that, yes, you can lie to yourself, and that's true. But what you can't hide are the emotions that come up when you're intending in a specific direction. Now, what I've noticed is that there are 2 directions that we can be intending or having intentions in. One of those directions is pointing back towards ourselves and our own humanity, towards the experience of our universal consciousness, of what it is to be human, of our own nature. And the other intentions can be pointing away from it, away from our nature, away from ourselves. And so the intentions break into what I call the intentions and the delusions. And when it comes to integral intention, it's about making sure that your intentions are pointing you back to yourself and to your own humanity rather than pointing you away from it. So there are 4 that break down. And if we're going to be able to create unshakable inner peace, if we're going to be able to have a sense of wisdom in our lives, a way of viewing the world and conducting ourselves in the world, it's important that we are very much mindful and aware of our own intentions in what we say and do, and have the ability to reflect upon them, especially when we're feeling unpleasant emotion. Because unpleasant emotion is not necessarily a literal indicator of meaning. It doesn't automatically give meaning to something, which is a mistake that we've all made. I've certainly have made it before. I still make it today, where I take my emotion literally. But really what unpleasant emotion and that kind of ringing coming up is almost like a discussion with your consciousness, or your conscience, rather. The metaphor that I'm familiar with, again, going back to one of Jordan Peterson's lectures, is where he talks about the movie Pinocchio and how Jiminy Cricket represents the conscience of Pinocchio. And that conscience is a bug, because your conscience bugs you when things are off, when things aren't feeling right. And it's worth having a dialogue with that, which is where the intentions and delusions are able to help, because they give us that, like when we have that unexpected, unpleasant emotion about something, or we have an agitation or a discomfort, it gives us the opportunity to have a dialogue with our own intentions.